powers of alchemy. The powers of alchemy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Good evening. Happy Tuesday to you. This is your man, Frank. coming to you live and direct with another edition of Views from the Man Cave. So, welcome. Welcome to View from the Man Cave, a place for honest, intellectual, and informative dialogue and discourse about all things related to masculinity and manhood, responsibility and respect, provision and protection. So, let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, y'all. Good evening. It's another show. It's another Tuesday. Um, I just want y'all to forgive me. We had to take care of a few audio issues that we were having, but we're here. So we thank y'all for pulling up on us tonight. We're going to talk about a big topic, a great topic. We're going to talk about financial literacy, and I could have did it myself, but I said, you know what? I'm not a professional. I don't work in this field. I don't. I can't tell you everything you need to know about getting the bag, but what I can do is I can find somebody who can. And I did that. I looked all over. I searched high and low. I searched on all the social media platforms I knew about, and I found somebody. I found somebody for y'all, man. Beautiful sister, talented, knows what she's talking about, knows how to get the bag, knows how to flip that bag, make that bag expand for you. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about financial literacy. And so I have a very distinguished guest, and I'm going to introduce her at this time, and I'm going to let her do her thing. And we're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to talk. We're going to learn. And absolutely. So without any further ado, I want to welcome Miss Shakira Green to the Man Cave. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Extremely grateful, excited for you and all the great things that you're doing and the legacy
Uh,
that you're building for you and your family. And just a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. You know, I didn't really have to. Like I said, I was looking for somebody for this, and you were my first choice. You know what I mean? I found this sister on ClubHouse, so I've been hopping over there a lot. I've been cheating on y'all, my YouTube family. I have on ClubHouse. I already told y'all that. I already apologized for it. But while I was over there, I've been meeting some very interesting people, and Miss Green, Shakira here, is one of those special people. So this is her field. This is what she does. She loves helping people, but I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let her get into that. So, so Shakira, go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you can, just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And yes, I'm new to Clubhouse. So I've been in
Right.
all the rooms. I'm enjoying the great conversations that we're having on
Mm-hmm.
so many various topics. So again, it was just great connecting with you. My name is Shakira Green, for those that don't know me. Pleasure to meet you all. I am a financial expert. I'm actually an executive market director at JP Morgan Chase Bank, the number one financial institution. I've been in banking for 17 years now. I've currently been at the firm for 2.5 years. I'm in Manhattan, so I run a really, really big region and market called Lower West Side. So that's pretty much everything from World Trade Center to 5th and 21st. I have a team of professionals that specialize in helping our clients build, protect, and grow their assets, from financial advisors to skilled relationship managers to help our business clients, from my personal bankers to help you with your everyday banking, and just, trying to help our clients and be there to support them. So really excited to be here to share whatever information I can. I didn't always want to be in banking. I got my start in banking actually by accident. So I used to waitress, and I used to waitress at the
Wow.
Olive Garden through
All right.
college. And
Okay.
on a Saturday shift, I got sat these two ladies, and it was the worst shift you can think of, Frank. Like we
Mm.
didn't get our truck delivery that day, so we had no
Oh wow.
breadsticks, we had no
You,
no
you
salad
gotta have
dressing.
breadsticks. Like,
Exactly. Who go to
yeah, you
Olive
gotta have
Garden and don't
breadsticks.
get the breadstick?
Right.
So anyway, I got sat at my table, and they never knew what I'm through behind the scenes. I had them tasting wine. I brought them an appetizer. But long story short, at the end of that dining experience, a woman left me her business card, and she said, "You were phenomenal. If you ever need a job, please call me."
Mm.
And ironically, she sat in the title and seat that I have today. And I
Wow.
called her up about a week and a half later, And because at that time I was, putting myself through college, and they had changed the rules. Pretty much, I used to register for school in September, and I had until December to pay the bill. Well, they decided that when you register, you had to pay the bill in full, and I didn't have the money. So I said I was going to work 2 jobs, save up, and then go back to school in January. And so I called her, and I got hired at this small bank. It's no longer around, but it was called World Savings Bank, headquartered in California. They had some offices all over the country, and the rest is history. And we still keep in touch. She's in a major bank in Alaska, and she's still my mentor. So,
Wow. Wow, that's great. I actually think I saw that, you were kind of
and
paying
I,
homage to her on your Instagram. I saw that, you were just kind of shouting around and, giving her some love. And that's an incredible story. Like, to go from, waitress to bank teller to market director. I mean, like, that's an incredible story. So, on this platform, on the Man Cave, I promote that. I love that. I love growth. I love development. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you for everything that you've accomplished. And,
thank you.
our lives are just examples to let people know that, we really don't have any excuses out here. If you have the right character, if you have the right mindset, if you have that yearning desire to be better, you can do it. You'll get put in certain situations where you meet certain people and opportunities will fall into your lap, and then it'll be up to you to make the best of those opportunities. So I'm thankful for you. I'm happy for you taking those opportunities and making the absolute best of them. So that's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, and I always share with my team. I lead, a team of close to 200 employees, and I always say, be coachable. I always
Right.
was coachable, always willing to learn, network,
Hmm.
build relationships, and those are some of the things that helped me get to where I am today. So very humble.
Absolutely. Um, well, since we're talking about stuff like that, I'll do the same thing. I'll tell a few gems. So, we'll get into it later on as you kind of break down a few things. But so yeah, I'm for the folks who just tuning in for the first time. I'm from North Carolina. I'm a country boy. And I decided, after school to go into the military. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do or where I wanted to be. So I said, you know what, until I figure it out, let me go in the army and, travel and get in pristine shape. So I did that. And so I traveled around the world, saw a lot of beautiful things, met a lot of beautiful people. And then I wound up in Washington, D.C. And so when I got out of the military, I worked in corrections for a little bit as a correctional officer. And then after that, I got hired by the agency that I work for now, Pretrial Services Agency, which is a federal law enforcement agency here in Washington, D.C. And I've been there ever since. So this month is actually my 13th year at the agency. And so I've moved all the way up. I started off as a program assistant. Then I went into our drug testing lab. I worked there. And then I just kind of bounced around the agency, moved up. So I went from the very bottom to at top, as far as outside of being like in a management position, which I'm applying for now. So we'll see how that comes in the next, few years or so. But yeah, so it's just a testament to hard work, being focused, like Shakira talked about, being humble, being able to take constructive criticism, working on your craft, and you'll get where you want to go. You'll get where you need to go. You know what I mean? That's very good. So so we're gonna get right into it. You know what I mean? If that's okay with you, and I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and we'll just chop it up. So so why are you so passionate? Why are you so passionate about creating financial security for others? When I first met you, when I first went to your Instagram, all I saw was like financial literacy, helping people get the bag, helping women get the bag, and I was just really motivated and excited to see that and hear that, and I just wanted to ask you, what makes you so passionate about helping people become more financially literate?
So it's a lot of things that contribute to my passion. I think the first is being raised by a single mom, like so many, unfortunately, in our community. I watched my mom work hard to get where we, to just have the bare minimum, I should say. So her being a single mom, I don't think I remember a time when my mom didn't have a minimum of two jobs. She always had a hustle going on. Born and raised in Jersey City.
Okay.
And so, when you grow up in an urban community, mom had to make it happen. And so
Right.
that was my first passion. I saw a lot of what I didn't want to be. I knew I didn't want to be a teenage mom. I knew I didn't want to have experiences that unfortunately some of the people that I grew up with were going through. But when you think about money, I think money gives you access. Money gives you access to live to raise our children and give them more. It allows you to walk away from that job that you're unhappy at. It allows you to start that business with that creative idea, whatever your passion may be. It allows you to walk away from a relationship that, maybe no longer serves you. And I can go on and on and on. So for me, money gives you access to culture, to an experience. I watched your video as we were starting the podcast today and just looking at all of your traveling. And if anyone follows me, I love to travel,
Yeah.
but it's more so about culture and it's about the experience. And money allows you to do all of those things that I just described.
Right. I thought I was a traveler. I used to walk around with my chest puffed out, you know what I mean, throwing my weight around. I've been over here, I did that, I ate this type of food and on this continent, this country. And I went to and I went to Shakira's Instagram and I had to all that air in my chest, I had to let it out. You know what I'm saying? Like this woman here has been everywhere. It looked like everywhere. I mean, and I was impressed, and that's saying a lot because I love to travel. My wife and I, our kids, we get out, we travel all the time. So when I saw this sister's gram, I was like, man, look, this is like a magazine. This is like a travel and leisure or something. But yeah, I have a very similar story too. I grew up with just my mom for the most part. My mom and my three brothers. My oldest brother was kind of in and out. He was a little older, so he was doing his thing in the street. So I didn't really see him that much. But my younger brother and I, we saw it firsthand. My mom struggling, working a full-time job, then, cleaning offices up, in the evenings and trying to make ends meet. And it was just something that I saw and I said, I don't want to I don't want to live like that. And, I don't want, as a man, I don't want to put a woman in position to where she would even have to consider living like that because, I gave her a baby of 4 or 5 and then I, left her hanging and she had to do what she had to do. So I just saw that struggle and I said, I don't want to live like that. You know what I mean? And I just focused on, wanting a better life for myself and for, my legacy, however that came about. So, yeah, so I have a very similar story. I actually have family in New Jersey. I have family in Union. It's been a while since I've been up there to see
Okay.
him
That's
though.
right by
Yeah,
me.
yeah. It's been a while since
Not
I've
too
been up there to
far,
see
about
him, but
15, 20 minutes.
yeah, I got to get up there and check on my folks. But yeah, very similar story. A lot of us, I think, in the Black community, we're very used to that story, and so that story of struggling and trying to stretch money and things like that to make ends meet. And I think we've gotten to a certain point where we're proud of that now. So it's like it's a badge of honor almost to be able to do that. And in a way it is, but I don't want that for us. I don't want that for our people. You know what I mean? There are a lot of opportunities out here that have been afforded to us and we have to take advantage of them. And we're going to get into some of those things tonight. So let me ask you this. Why do you think money is still a tough topic to have a conversation about today?
So, I think money is a tough topic because it's a sensitive subject, right? People don't like to talk about their finances. It's like it's a personal thing, it's an intimate thing. And if we look at statistics, 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And these
Right.
facts are all post-COVID, pre-COVID. So I know post-COVID, the numbers are probably worse. Every 40 have $400 saved for an emergency. Let's really think about that. Like if you have an emergency, you know, something goes wrong with your car, you 40% of Americans are saying they don't have $400 put away.
Right.
50% of Americans have that's a heavy on them, and depression and stress. Money is the number one stressor. It causes depression, it causes anxiety. So I think all of those reasons make it uncomfortable, but if we really dig deeper, in our culture, and when I say our, I mean black and brown, the black and brown community, I don't think it was a thing for us to talk about finances. Like my grandmother didn't talk about finances. My mom doesn't, it's very uncomfortable for her to talk about finances. It's kind of like, I keep my business in my house, you keep your business in your house. And it just wasn't something that we talked about or we shared, but you knew mommy and daddy made it happen.
Right.
All of those reasons make it a little bit, uncomfortable. People are afraid to be judged. We have to remove that stigma, we have to share. And one thing I will say, being in different circles, is that other communities, they share information. Not only do they share information, but they share resources. So, whenever I'm in a room, and particularly I often speak to women, I always say, let's remove any fear. I make them look to the woman to their left, look at the woman to the right, and I say, that's your sister. And so there is no judgment in this room, and we're here to support each other, and we're going to love on each other, and we're going to be honest, and we're going to raise our hands, and we're going to ask questions. And when, someone doesn't understand something, we're going to explain it to them, but on their level. And I really think that's what it's about. It's about the educational piece, giving the resources, letting people know. And like you said, today is so much. 80% of Americans say that finances is the number one subject matter that they want to talk about. That's why you see so many experts now talking about credit, talking about investing,
Right.
talking about preparing for retirement, which I know we're going to get into some of those topics tonight.
Right.
But I think all of those contribute to it being such a tough topic.
Yeah, I agree. It's not something that I've witnessed a lot of my friends and associates, talking about. We don't talk about money that much. We don't talk about how to, even in a good way. Oh, I just made money doing this, or I invested in this, and it took off, and I made some money on that. Like it's just something that we really don't talk about. It's almost like how, the majority of people in this country don't like to talk about politics. Like, don't ask me who I voted for. Like that ain't none of your business. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, share that same sentiment with their money. It's not something that they want to talk about. And some of it's fear. Some of it is, hey, if I do that, then I'm exposing myself. You know what I mean? If I'm, 35, 40 years old and I come to you and talk about money, and then I'm comparing it to you, and then I find out, you're younger than me and you're in a better financial situation, then it may make me feel bad or something like that. So I don't really want to talk about it. I just kind of, I just want to look the part. You know what I mean? As opposed to actually being the part and having the, we're going to get into that. But yeah, so I do understand that. And that
So you
it's a
touched
very
on
sensitive
something.
subject. No, go ahead,
Yeah,
please.
you
Please go
touched
ahead.
on you triggered something for me when you said look to par. So I hear a term a lot now that people are referencing breaking generational curses, but what does that really mean? And I can share just a quick story. My grandmother used to always say, and my mom, when you walk out this house, you better look your best because you represent me.
Right.
So every time we went to church, we went to dinner, we went out to a party, we were sharp to a T, right? In translation into my adulthood, that meant every time I had a job interview, I was running out to get a new suit. Or
Right.
if I was going on a date or a
Mhm.
brunch, I had to be fly. I had to be fresh from head to toe,
Right.
and then I say, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl with the $5,000 Chanel bag without the $5,000 in it. That makes no sense to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then I begin to shift my mindset. So when I think about breaking generational curses, that's breaking generational curses is starting with how do you shift your mindset? How do you start to think? Because I always tell people it's not how much you make, but it's how much you keep. I have a
Right.
client that only makes $45,000, but later I was able to work with her and help her, and she saved $15,000. To
Right.
me, that's someone who's successful in their finances, right? So, how do we shift our mindset? How do we begin to remove insecurities and doubt and ask for the information and the time that we're wasting? We waste a lot of time.
Right.
We're scrolling. And it's not your fault that you don't know and you weren't raised with it, but it is your due diligence as an adult to do the work to find out, how do I fix this and how do I create better for me and my family.
Right. And I saw that a lot. I heard those same things when I was coming up. You better look like you better look sharp, you better look your best because you're representing this house. And you're not gonna go out here and have me looking like I don't take care of y'all. So I grew up like that as well. And that's something that I always did too. When I would apply for a job, I always had to get a new suit, you know what I mean? All that. I had to even now, it's funny, but even like when I go on vacations, I always have to buy new clothes. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know what it is, but it's like you can't see me in Dubai and then see me in Puerto Rico with the same gear on. Like you can't, because I'm gonna take pictures, and I don't want people saying, "Wow, he got on the same gear." That I don't know what that is, but and I grew up when I was younger. I grew up in that era where a lot of my friends, we were label heads. I'm not gonna lie, like we had to have it had to be a label. We were checking people's tags in school. We had to know what that is and how much you paid for it, and we were broke. You know what I'm saying? And even like when I was younger, I had a little job when I was in high school. I worked at a little McDonald's, whatever. And I would get my check and I would go get fresh immediately. Like I had to go get some sneakers. I had to go get some Timbs. I had to go, so I would get my clothes right. And then I would go to the CD store, get my little music right. And then I wouldn't have enough money to eat like lunch at school. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be the freshest guy in the cafeteria, but I had to borrow some money from my man to eat, to get a slice. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so focused on how I looked as opposed to what I had in my pocket. And that's something that I had to, I think we do that a lot, unfortunately, in our community, where we want to look the part, but we don't necessarily want to be the part. So a lot of us look like $1 million. Black people know how to do it. We know how to get fresh. We know how to look, like, sisters know how to get fly and look, and the heels and everything's just, looking good. Brothers know how to get fresh too, smell good, all that good stuff. But then when you look at, the wealth gap, when you look at what we own, and what we control and what we can pass down to our children, that's few and far between. So I think that's something that, we have to, we just have to get better at the end of the day, because, you can't retire off what's in your closet. You know what I mean? That's not going to help you. You got the nicest closet in the world, but when it's time to retire, when it's time to, fall back and do other things, when you go to that next phase, that next level in your life, those shoes in your closet, those suits, that stuff's not going to help you. You know what I mean? It's really not. So yeah, so that's a great point. Okay, so here we go. So in your opinion, what are some of the biggest reasons for the wealth gap in America as it relates to African Americans?
Now that's a good question. That's a deep one right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it goes way back. It
Mm-hmm.
goes starting with, desegregation, obviously, right? When we were segregated, we had our own. We had our own everything, our
Mm-hmm.
own banks, our own community, our own stores, our own Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
So it started there. Then you can think about the crack epidemic, right? Crack cocaine was put in our communities, which destroyed especially our Black men. And then it was other things that systematically were put in place to intentionally, keep us and set us so far behind, from redlining. We all know what that is, and redlining in certain communities, to the Bill Clinton Act in 1996. Remember, he passed that
Right.
law. What is it? One strike. So, and at that time, you had about 75% of Black people who were living in low income subsidized housing. So you mean to tell a Black woman that if she gets caught with someone in her home who had any type of criminal offense, that she and her kids had to get out of public housing, and then
Right.
where are we going to go? And you
Right.
see some of this depicted in some movies that we love, like Brewster Place. What's Tyler Perry's movie where he shows that same exact story. And then I think it's also, you can relate it back to just so many different things, but discriminating in banks. I mean, it's happened. Where banks would discriminate on who would get loans to purchase homes. And that's still happening, unfortunately, at some banks today. But I think people are more conscious of it. I think now, what happened in 2020 with George Floyd, it just really shined the light on so many different things that's been happening in our community. But I think we need to seize this moment, and it's all about us, and it starts with us making that change. So I love to see people being more conscious about buying Black, supporting Black businesses, being about how their dollars are being circulated, wanting to invest in real estate more, which I hope we get an opportunity to talk about. Because to me, I think investing in real estate is like the number one way that the average person can build wealth, can build generational wealth, and insurance policies, things of that sort. So it's so many things. I think we had some stuff, some comments are popping up, but I hope that, I think most of those that I mentioned tonight are the main things. Yep. Someone said redlining is still occurring today. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's two parts. You know, the wealth gap being as wide as it is, that's systemic, and if you understand history, that's done by design. So we can go back and we could talk about our plight in this country, fighting for freedom and things like that. But like you said before, we were segregated, so we had somewhat of a strong economic base because we could only buy from each other. We could only support each other financially. We couldn't go to white restaurants and white establishments and things like that to patronize them, to give them our money. So that allowed us to build and do for ourselves. When you think about Black Wall Street and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Durham, North Carolina, and Rosewood, and all these different places, and Seneca Village in New York, which is what we know now as to be Central Park, where we had our own communities and we were able to finance them and provide services for ourselves. But when the opportunity came, with desegregation, we abandoned that, unfortunately, to kind of go and pursue other things, to kind of compete, with other groups of people, to let them know that that we were on the same level as them academically. We could do whatever that they could do. So in the process of doing that, we gave up a lot of the things that we owned and controlled. And that's why, when you look at studies, the studies show that, we owned more land and we had more wealth in 1910 than we do in 2021. You know what I mean? And that's scary when you think about all the money that we're making. When you think about all of the, the people of color, the African Americans, foundational Black Americans who are millionaires, billionaires, own, NBA teams, own a lot of, have a lot of powerful entities and companies behind them that they own and operate. We still own and control less than what we did over 100 years ago. So it kind of alludes to that. And some of it is just us making bad economic choices. You know what I mean? Because I can't sit here and honestly say that we don't have the money, because, studies do show as well that, in our community, we have over $1 trillion of economic power, yearly, that passes through our hands. And so, we have to do a better job of keeping some of that money, the majority of that money, in our communities and our own institutions where we can, provide loans, for each other, buy real estate, and can control the politics and the resources in our community. So it is a systemic issue, and a lot of it is just us having money and not being financially literate. Because there's like, I always say, there's like three people in this world. You have a group of people who
Yeah,
are just broke. Like they don't have money. Like they're struggling, they're living check to check, they don't have it. Then you have another group of people who have money and they don't really know what to do with it. So you have and I
right.
think the majority of us fall into that situation. Like we're working, we have we own a townhouse, we own a house or a condo, we have a little situation set up, but we don't know how to make our money work for us. So we're not putting ourselves in the best financial situations that we could put ourselves in. Did you want to say something?
Right. You touched on so many good things. The one that stands out is discipline. We were more
Mhm.
disciplined back in the day. Now you have too much access, and I mean, think about it. You want something now; it's instant gratification. You can go, you can use swipe that card, and you got it. And a month, couple months from now, you may not even be thinking about that electronic that you just purchased, or
Right.
you upgraded to that new Apple phone, and now here
Hmm.
it is, a year or 2 years later, you're still paying on it. And I think the
Right.
other piece to it too is we have to think about what was intentionally done to Black men in our community, which made, 81% of single Black women are household breadwinners.
Right.
We're also the number one entrepreneur segment, but that's because we've been CEOs, we've been running the households and things of that sort. So, you have a woman being the number one breadwinner, you don't have two incomes coming in, which in most white households, you do have two incomes coming in, or the male is sustaining everything, but he makes a greater salary.
Right.
So I don't know, so many things that contribute to it, but the discipline is definitely one that stands out. We're less disciplined now. We want to stunt, we want to shine, and all of that is great. But
Right.
you want to make sure that you are setting yourself self up for success.
Right. Absolutely. Look. I'm going to stunt. Shakira's going to stunt. We're stunners. Okay. We're going to stunt out here. But I'll never tell anybody not to. You know what I mean. But at the same time, make sure that your finances are secure. Make sure that you're saving, investing, all that good stuff, because you just never know. Like here in Washington D.C., right? If you work in the federal government, you know that every once in a while you're going to have a government shutdown. Politicians are going to start arguing about the budget. They're going to try to get some political points, and so they're going to use the American people, the federal government employees, as bait, and they'll shut the government down. This happens
Hmm.
often,
Well,
but
furlough you guys, right?
or like like a furlough. So we know this. If
Mhm.
you've been in the federal government for any extended period of time, you know that there's a furlough that can happen. And so even though a lot
You
of
got to
us are
prepare
very
for that.
successful, right, and we're not. So you know every time it happens, you see these government employees, federal government employees, who are making 80, 90, 100, $150,000 a year, and then we get furloughed for a week or 2 weeks, and they're struggling like the world is going to end. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. Look, like, if you work, you're supposed to get your money. I'm not saying that you don't earn it. I want my money. I work for it. I want it. But if I know that a furlough can come at any moment, it will behoove me to save some money, so that when it does come, if it lasts a week or 2 days or a month, I'm financially able to take care of myself and my family until they work that out. And so it happens, and it doesn't. You don't have to be in
Mhm.
the federal government for that to happen. Things happen all over the place. We saw the housing, we saw the banking, collapse and things like that. We saw the real estate bubble and all these things. So over the course of time, there are going to be situations that happen where it will behoove you to save some money. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that if something happens, you're covered, and you don't have to worry about, how your kids are going to eat, and you have all these PlayStations and $200 shoes in the closet, but you don't know how you're going to pay your light bill, or you don't know how you're going to eat the rest of the week, because you haven't really put any money aside, and put that money in a position where it could grow for you. So, and that's
Right.
one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this show, and to have you on.
Yeah, I always say, and listen, storms are gonna come, right? But
Right,
when a storm come, I rather have an umbrella. I rather be
right,
protected. So, what
right.
are some ways that you're creating passive income What are some ways that you're protecting yourself and creating different umbrellas so that when storms do come, you could sustain it? Listen, I could lose my job tomorrow, but that's why I have other things going on to where my girls and I will be good, you know. So
Mhm.
it's about how do you take what you have and create more, and that's where the wealth comes in. That's where the generational curse breaking comes in. So, good
Right.
points.
Right. Um, so what are a few things, what are three things that everyone should do with their money beginning today? Like right now, if I got a couple dollars,
Mhm.
what are a few things that I should be doing with it right now?
So I want to talk to like the average person because this is such
Right.
a great question. I get asked this from women all the time, particularly. So I think the first thing that everyone need to do is create a budget and a
Mm,
financial calendar. I don't care how much you make. You need a budget. You need to budget
right.
what's coming in and how are you managing your resources. It's all about allocating your resources appropriately. So I think the first thing that you should do, everyone should have some type of budget. I look at my budget, and when you create a budget, you start from your biggest item, which is most people going to be either do I have a mortgage or a rent? If I have a mortgage, can I refinance in that payment? Then you're going to go
Hmm.
to your car note. If I'm leasing, I mean, it's nothing you could do with a lease. That's your payment. But if I own, can I refinance it? A lot
Hmm.
of people don't know. You could also, some banks will allow you to, lenders will allow you to refinance your vehicle up to 110%, and then you can kind of do some debt consolidations. There's creative ways for you to leverage your credit. But you go each item. Now I'm going to look at my auto insurance, my home insurance, my telephone bill, on down to the cable bill. You name it, I itemize
Right.
each list and I say, how can I reduce this to create more income, or to have where could I save more money, right?
Right.
And then once I save it, I've already shown myself that when I was paying it, I can afford to pay it. So now I'm going to take that extra money that I've found how to save and pay it to myself. And that's where you set up a separate savings account and you set up an auto transfer. So we talked about
Mm,
travel. As you mentioned, you love to travel. I love to travel, but I'm very intentional about my traveling. So every pay
mm,
period, I transfer $500 into my travel account. So when I do
mhm.
find that trip, I book it on my credit card to get the points, but then I transfer the money from my checking and pay that credit card off
Paid it off.
right away because I don't, who wants to pay
Right.
interest on that? So
Right.
having a budget, but also a financial calendar. Most people aren't organized. You know,
Hmm.
what bills are being paid? You know, you got some bills being paid on the 1st, the 6th, the 9th. That's no way. Of course you're going to forget something. So the first thing is I try to have half of my bills come out on the 1st and the other half comes out on the 15th. That way I'm
Hmm.
splitting up everything. So it's not so much pressure with everything coming out of one particular, at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. So that calendar is crucial and that's important as well. The second, I would say, the second most important thing is how are you leveraging your credit? I don't think we take advantage of credit. And I'm constantly trying to shift the myths and misconceptions that are out there as it pertains to credit. Credit is a part of my saving strategy. So let me give you an example. Every month, anything that I can pay on my credit card, I pay it on my credit card or my Amex card, and I accumulate points.
Hmm.
So I'm looking to get as many points as I can. If I'm traveling, I'm comping an airline ticket or a hotel expense. With the months that I'm not traveling, I redeem my points for gift cards, and then I use the gift cards to our gas expense or my food purchases. So my credit strategy is a part of my savings strategy, right?
Right.
How much I probably fill my tank about $150 a month. So think about it. I'm saved. That's $150 cash right there. I'm saving. Um, my phone bill, I pay that with my credit card because when I pay it with my card, I get free cell phone insurance. So why am I paying
Hmm.
Verizon $15 a month for cell phone insurance on each line, my line and my two daughters' line, right? That's $45 a month, times that by 12. Why am I giving Verizon that extra money when my credit card is saying if you make that payment with us, I'm going to give you free cell phone insurance, and I'm allowed to put up to 2 claims per year. Another
Hmm.
form of savings, right?
Hmm.
Um, So now I just want to put this disclaimer. You want to make sure that you pay that credit card off within the 28 days, because after that, you're going to accrue interest, or it'll be charged for the interest on those payments. So I always pay it right off. Now, that works for me. I'm extremely disciplined. If someone's not disciplined, then maybe that strategy isn't going to work for you, right? But leveraging credit, people I know, like, so most successful folks, they'll tell you they never use their money. They always
Right.
borrow money to make more money. So this is a
Right.
perfect example of what I'm explaining to you. How are you using whatever credit that you have, whether it be a line of credit, a personal loan, a personal line of credit, maybe a home loan or home line of credit, whatever access you have to credit, how are you leveraging that to make more money for you?
Right.
So that's important. And then the third thing I would love to say is we have to invest more. Statistics show that the Black and Brown community does not invest in the stock market. I think
Right.
primarily we're super conservative. Most of us didn't grow up with money. And if we did, we want to save it, right? We want to save it and
Right.
we want to protect it because we're afraid to lose it because it took us so long to get it.
Right.
So, but you are missing out on opportunities. I mean, this year alone, I was just blown away by what happened with some of my stocks, right? And you start off by purchasing some stocks that you believe in. I mean, the cruise lines, the airlines. I bought some Delta stock in 2020 because I knew, come on, travel's going to come back,
It's gonna come
right?
back. Right.
Right. So you're investing in things that you believe in. Choose stocks that are important to you and that you believe in. Everyone believes in Apple. Everyone believes in Amazon, right? These are successful companies. So start with choosing some of those. And then everyone thinks that they have to do their own investing. You get a free consultation wherever bank you bank with. More than likely, they will offer you a free consultation with a financial advisor. Sit down with them, interview that financial advisor, find someone that speaks your jargon, someone that should be asking questions to understand your entire picture, to ask you what are your financial goals, how can I help you get there, and that's the person that you trust and go with. But I would love to see us just invest more in the stock market. And if we didn't learn from this GameStop situation that recently took place, like we are so powerful in our purchasing ability. Like we were able to manipulate the industry and we have figured it out. And now that we figured it out, I'm sure they're going to try to change the game on us again. But we have to do more investing. And remember, investing is a long-term strategy. So I'm not looking at my stocks every day or every week because it's just going to create that emotional turmoil. So it's a small portion that I put aside that will benefit me long term. It's a long term
Right.
strategy. It's not a short
Right.
term strategy.
Right.
So I think if you implement those three things, you'll start to see some success and reach your financial goals.
Right. All those are great. The budget is important because when you itemize everything, when you write it down and you go line upon line, precept upon precept, you'll realize that you're wasting a lot of money. You know what I mean? I don't care what it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't really change your rent. You can't. I mean, you could. I mean, you could change your mortgage. You could refinance into a certain another situation. Um, there's certain things you could do with that on the real estate side. Like you could, even if you say, okay, look, even if you refinanced, like, okay, you have a few options with refinancing on your home. You could refinance to get a better interest rate, to get lower payments. Some people refinance to pay their house off sooner. So you could refinance into a 15-year mortgage where your your mortgage will increase, but you pay it off in half the time. Because the majority of mortgages are going to be like a 30-year fixed. So if you have the money, you could do it in a 15-year
Or
mortgage and pay it off in half the time. You were
or
saying,
you could keep that. Yeah, I was gonna say, or you could keep that 30-year mortgage payment, put
mhm,
yourself on a bi-weekly program,
Right.
So that way it
Right.
keeps your payment down. But you want to call your lender and make sure that they put you on a biweekly program, not that you're just making that one additional payment a year. Because what
Right.
we do is recast your loan every 30 days. So when we recast your loan, we're shaving thousands of dollars off, and you pay that loan off somewhere in between year 22 and 7 months and 23 years. But that's another way, because some people get intimidated with that 15-year mortgage payment. So you keep the 30-year, but you pay it biweekly.
Right. See, that's why look, man, that's why I got Shakira here. So we could look, so we can learn something. But yeah, like that budget is important because when you look at it, I'm telling you, you know, you look at all the money, like the first thing for me, you know, in my household, my wife, she's an accountant. You know what I mean? So this is her line of work. She itemizes everything. She does the budget. Baby, you know, look at what we spent on this last month. Look at what we spent on eating out. And I'm like, we spent how much? You know what I mean? And I'm like, but nah, I don't really remember that. Like, yeah, but all this stuff add up. You know, this lunch here and this coffee
It
here and
does.
this
Some of
dinner
us are
over
working to
here. And,
eat.
you know, right. You working just to eat good. You know what I'm saying? And you look at that budget, you say, man, we spent 800 on food. For real? Or with the phone, like I saved so much money on the phone and the cable because I was paying Verizon, you know, and we have I have a nice size house and a lot of TVs. So between the boxes and the high def and, you know, the DVR and all of that, I was paying like $300 for cable. And then we looked at that thing and I said, nah, like this, we're not doing this. We're going to get some, we're going to start streaming. We're going to get a Fire Stick and, you know, we're going to buy these smart TVs. You know what I mean? We buy these smart TVs and then and they pay for itself. Like, so you cut your cable bill.
Listen, these kids
in
not
half.
watching TV. They on YouTube all day
Yeah,
anyway.
they don't, like my kids is, I'm paying all this money. My kids is on YouTube. They playing Roblox. They ain't watching no TV like that. And I don't even. I mean,
YouTube. That's all my kids.
Minecraft. Yeah, like I'm so busy. I don't even watch TV for real. I might be able to get on a regular day. I may be able to get like 2 Law and Orders in. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Like I'm not watching. I mean, I fall asleep on the game because I'm tired. I fall asleep on it because I'm working. You know, the kids need time. My wife need time. Family calling me, Frank, hey, you ain't talked to us in a minute. So you doing all that before I know it, it's 10 o'clock. I get 1 Law and Order and it's bedtime. So I'm paying all this stuff. I'm not even watching it. So we start streaming it. But yeah, like that budget will show you, you know what I mean, where you spending your money. You know what I mean? Whatever you spend your money on, that's what you serving. That's what you serve. And you see that budget, you spend all this money on clothes and all this kind of stuff. And so the budget helps you because you can see it. It's right there in your face. And then you can make changes. Right. And one thing, like in my household,
real when it's on paper.
Yeah. I mean, that thing hurt when you look at it. And so my wife and I, you know, we have this thing where we never say no to anything. You know what I mean? We never say no, you know, we not buying this, whatever. We don't say that. But what we'll say is, okay, do we need it right now? Like, can you, do you have to have it? Like, wait a week and see how serious you want it, see how bad you want it. You know what I mean? And so we'll do it like that. And what you were saying about the trips is important too, because, we have accounts for certain things. We have a bill account, then we have like a leisure account. So we split it all up. So like we're not using, and that's another thing people do. People will use one card for everything, and that thing get overdrafted. Right. You use the same card to pay your rent, your car note, to buy clothes, to go out to the movies, to go to the drinks, get your hair, your nails, your toes done. All that you swiping out, all that on one card, and then that thing is gone. You don't know, like you have no idea what's going on. So split some of that stuff up. Have a bill account. Have an account for your travel, for gifts, all that kind of stuff, and put into it every month. So like what Shakira was saying is real, so you can find a trip on some website. You can find a trip and you already got the money saved for. You don't have to save up and lose out on a really good deal, because a lot of these travel deals, they're best when you buy them like maybe a month out, a week out, everything set up, and they're really trying to fill spots. So they'll cut the. I've seen. I can't remember the website, but I've seen websites that have trips to Colombia. I saw one that had a trip to Turkey and to Greece in the same trip. It was like $700 with the flight included. I mean everything. And but you got to buy it like today, or you got to buy it like today or within 2 or 3 days. And if you're investing, if you're saving money and putting it to that account, when you see a great deal like that, you can jump on it. But a lot of us miss out on stuff like that because we're not saving. So if every time, like, you want to go on a trip, well, I got to save, I got to wait till my tax returns come back, and I got to do like, nah, like, so put some of that money away. Miss Rivers is in the building. That's my baby. She's here. But everything that you said is dead on. The long-term investing too, we don't do that. You know what I mean? I think we're afraid of that. Historically, we will put our money in banks. After slavery, we put our money in these banks, and then, a depression hit or something will happen. We run to the bank, try to get our money. All the money's gone. Our money's not there. So, so we grew up in that era where our grandparents would stash money under the mattress and in the closet, in the shoebox. And, nobody was putting money in banks, investing, playing the stock market and things like that. And that's where a lot of money is made. I just got into it. Like AMC, like what Shakira was saying is real. Like all these markets, they're going to bounce back. The airlines, cruises, COVID is not going to last forever. So a lot of people are jumping off ship on these airline stocks, these cruise stocks, and they're cheap. So, but these things are going to come back. Like I said, COVID is not going to last forever. So we're going to fly again. We're going to go on cruises again. And then when that starts happening, these stocks are going to go up, and you're going to price yourself out of getting into the game. So don't be willing. So be willing to invest, especially in things that like Amazon's not going anywhere. Apple's not going anywhere. Some of these things, get in where you fit in, and be willing to invest long term. Let it sit. You know what I mean? And let it grow for you. Don't check it every day, because I do that. I'm a stickler for that. I check my stock every day. I'm like, man, I gained like, a couple dollars here. Like, I get frustrated, but that's not how you play with stocks. You put your money in the market, step away from it, you let it do what it does. You don't check that every day. Yes. So all great points right there. So let's talk about credit for a second. How important is credit, and how can you make it work for you? I know you talked about a few things earlier, but if you want to just kind of expound on that a little bit, how important credit is.
So credit is extremely important. I think you have to understand credit, though. So the simplest way for me to break down credit is what I call the 5 C's to credit, right? So let's break this down. The first C is character. So what is your character? If I'm a bank, or lender, I'm trying to get to know you. So everything about your character is literally on that first page of your credit report. From your name, your address, your bank, how long you've lived at a particular location. That's all tied to your character. A bank wants to get to know you. We want to know, what kind of person is this person? Is this a person that pays their bills on time? What's your history? What's the length of time that you keep a credit card open? So all of that speaks to your character. The second C is capacity. So what's your debt to income ratio? Most lenders try to stay around a 42% debt income ratio. And there's a formula that we use called PITI plus other divided by income. And that's how we calculate at a bank what your debt to income ratio is. If that exceeds that 42%, more than likely you're going to get declined or asked that you need a co-borrower. But your debt to income ratio is basically saying whatever my income is, I can't exceed that 42%, and we're calculating whatever your mortgage payment is. If you have any credit card debt, we take 2% of your credit card debt. We're looking at if you pay any alimony, child support, separate maintenance, car notes, student loans, anything that's going to show up on your credit report, add all of that up, plus whatever the payment would be on whatever particular. Am I going too fast? You want to slow me down?
No. You're rolling, and it's great. I just have a question, because I've never heard that before. So you said child support and alimony. Like, that factors into your credit, or it could possibly.
It factors into, that's a payment that you have to make, and so that's coming out of your monthly income. We do factor that in, absolutely.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
child
Okay.
support will show up on your credit report if you're behind on it.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. Child support, alimony, separate maintenance. We all calculate that and to your consider your debt to income ratio. Now, the things that we aren't looking at are small miscellaneous like PSEG bill, your phone bill, those kind of expenses we aren't accounting for. And so we want to make sure that we have a qualified borrower, that this person can legitimately afford whatever product, whatever the monthly payment would be on whatever product that you're applying for. The next C is collateral. So how much are you putting down? Is this going to be an unsecured? Is it going to be a secured loan? There's so many things that you can secure a product with that people don't even think about. If you have a CD and a bank, a certificate of deposit, you can actually take a loan out on your CD. You don't see much of that right now, only because of interest rates. But when we were in an environment back in like 05, 06, when interest rates were 5-6%, people did not want to break those CDs, so they would borrow from their own money. What else is in collateral? So again, is it unsecured? Are you securing it with something? You could secure a product with your home, a boat, auto is a form of secured loan. The next C is so what's the dollar amount, right? How much are we putting down? If you're buying a home, are you putting 3.5% down? Are you putting 5% down? Are you putting 10%? Are you putting 20% down? By now, some lenders are being super conservative, where they really want to see a strong buyer have that 20% or 25% down. Not saying that there aren't other programs out there like FHA. There's even some amazing conventional programs that allow you to put less down. But we want to know, we're looking at that transaction and we're saying, how much is this going in particular to make sure that you're going to make good on it. And the last C is conditions. What's the conditions on it? What's the interest rate? What's the annual percentage rate? Do you have a co-borrower on it? So the best way to understand credit for me is the 5 C's to credit. It gives you a perspective of how the lender is looking at approving you for that loan. We're also looking at your relationship. What's your relationship with the bank? I have some people that just come in and they have no checking, no savings, no credit. The more products you have with a bank, they are more reluctant to give you a better interest rate, a better deal, maybe even take a certain percentage off. Leverage your credit union if you're a part of a credit union. Shop around, find out. I'll tell people sometimes we're not always the best lender for you. So you need to shop around. You need to do the homework. Some people may need to go to a hard money lender if you're trying to get into do a flip, a buy or sell product. You may want to, leverage a hard money lender. If you can't provide certain documentation to show that you qualify for the loan, then going to like your typical bank or conservative lender isn't going to work for you. The biggest thing credit is just how do you utilize it, how do you maximize it, and how do you understand it?
Right. That's it. Y'all heard it. Make sure your credit is right. For if you're trying to start a business, you're trying to buy a home, whatever you're trying to do, make sure your credit is right. It is important. Y'all ain't have, y'all out here want to be in love and y'all want to get married and all that. Make sure your credit is right. Make sure your partner's credit is right. You know what I mean? Because that's going to affect, how you move and what you're able to do. Like, hey, we talk about, well, we're going to get into that too a little bit later. But I see my brother, the brother Jason Moore here has a question about life insurance policies. I know it's kind of, on the fly, but do you have any information about that? How you could use, life insurance policy as an investment instrument?
Can you repeat that? Because my microphone came out. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Say that for
I'm
me
sorry.
one more time.
So Jason says, talk about whole life insurance policies as an investment instrument. So did you have any idea about that? How to use it? Okay.
Yes. Okay. I see that question came from Mr. Moore. So shout out to him. So I was just talking about this topic last night with one of my mentees who is looking to do some different investing. And that was one of the suggestions I gave to her is invest in a whole life insurance policy. It allows you to build cash value over a length of don't take advantage of is you can withdraw that cash value and use that to invest, whether it be in the stock market, whether it be into real estate, to use towards a down payment on a home or purchase your investment property. So it's a great tool. You want to reach out to someone who's licensed, and that could definitely talk to you about some whole life insurance policy that builds cash value. So I have a couple policies like that, with intent to build a specific amount of cash value because I wanted to be able to take out when my daughters are ready to go to college. You know, those little
Right.
expenses that we forget about,
Mhm.
like they'll need a car, just moving into a dormitory, purchasing a laptop, or maybe just that liquid cash to hold while they're in college so they're not calling mommy to cash app them every week. You can
Right.
take the money out of the cash value after a certain amount of years. So that was a really good question. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Mhm. Yeah. And for those individuals out there who are going to listen to this, who have children, um, start planning for their future. Whether it be a 529, college plan, or some type of long term savings so that you can set your kids up, for success. Because
Hmm.
um, debt is slavery. So a lot of us, even though our sisters are coming out, with all these degrees and they're the most educated group, and we know that, and that's something to be respected and commended. But at the same time, we're acquiring a lot of student loan debt too, and that debt is not something that you can get away from. You can't get up out of that. You know what I mean? Regardless of how you would like to do it.
Yeah.
I know Biden's talking about some debt, some student loan forgiveness and stuff like that. But if you could set your kids up now, by starting a 529 or starting some type of long term savings and just throwing a little bit in there. They don't need all that Christmas money. All that Christmas money they get, take a percentage of it and put it in an account for them, so that when they get 16 or they turn 18 and they start looking at you, I need a car, I need this, I need that. You've been preparing for that stuff. So that's something that I know my wife and I do. Um, it's just to make sure, because we want our children to go to college, and we want to pay for that, so that when they come out of college, they're ready to roll. They don't have to worry about paying, student loan debt and things like that. So have those conversations, think about it and plan for it in the future, because you just never know. You never know. So it's better to get prepared now, especially if you have
Yeah. I
the
like
resources to do so.
529 plans.
Mhm.
Yeah, 529 plans are pretty popular when preparing for college. We definitely have those for my daughters. But I want to talk a little bit about say accounts, educational savings accounts. So a
Okay.
Coverdell, like with a 529, they disperse the funds directly to to an educational institution. So whatever school. Typically, the
Hmm.
interest rates vary of like every product, but with the Coverdell accounts, you are allowed to use the funds if your child decides that they don't want to go to college. There's less of a penalty than when contributing to a 529 plan. So a 529 is specifically for educational purposes. And
Hmm.
if the funds if is not dispersed to a college, it's penalties. So I always tell people explore, because what's happening now is our children have an entrepreneur spirit. My girls were selling slime. So one day they came home and they had a knot full of money. And I'm like, where did you get all
Where'd you
this
get?
money from?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they were at school selling slime. And I mean, they were bringing in like $40 a day. So I
Mm.
was like, okay, you guys want to learn how to be a business owner? Let's sit you down. I'll take you to the store. You got to invest $10 in the product and show them. By the time I got done with them, they was like, "Mommy, we don't want to sell slime anymore." Our children have such an entrepreneur spirit, so you want to
Hmm.
allow them to exhaust all different options.
Right.
And maybe your child is not one that's going to go directly into college, or maybe start off at a local college. That's another one to
Right.
look into.
Right. Right. Okay. So according to several studies, um,
Hmm.
the number one cause of divorce in America is money. Money matters. Why is money ruining so many relationships, in your opinion?
Wow. I know money is the number one reason for that people unfortunately get divorced. So I think a lot of things contribute to that. Number one, I earlier, number of money is the number one stressor. So, and
Mm,
especially to a man is taught that he needs to be a provider, he needs to be a protector, right? And so, and then the last P is priest. So if he can't provide, he's stressed out. He's
mm,
stressed out when your money funny, you're stressed out,
yeah.
and that's for women too, but he don't be bothered. He may not even want to have sex with you, because all he can think about is how am I going to get this bill? How am I going to take care of my family? That adds an incredible amount of pressure to particularly a man in a relationship. I think it causes people to fight. Sometimes
Mm,
we're not on the same page. If you're trying to save and your partner is a spender and wants to go out all the time, that causes conflict. We're not on the
right.
same page. So it's important to have those questions. It's important to be honest.
Hmm.
If you are going into a relationship with massive student loan debt or massive debt from a previous relationship or divorce, or if you're paying alimony from a previous relationship or marriage, you need to disclose that to your partner because it does make a difference. And I'll be honest, like I stopped dating someone because of the amount of alimony he had to pay his ex-wife. I'm like, you can't afford me.
Right.
You are hurting me and
You
your
out your
bills.
bracket.
Like it's just not gonna work.
Right.
But and then
Yeah.
the third thing I think is communication. You have to communicate. You have to be on the same page. You have to be honest. Women are making so much more money, unfortunately, than men. Statistics show we're more educated and we're breaking those glass ceilings. So, we are looking for a man that can step up to the plate. But at the same time, a relationship isn't all about money. There may be periods in a relationship where he may be the top breadwinner. That may shift, the dynamics may shift, and now the woman is the primary breadwinner. So I just think that you got to have some type of arrangement. I'm divorced. I've been divorced 5 years now. And I made a substantial amount more than, my ex-husband, and he made great money. It was not like he was at Burger King. He made great money as well, but I made more. And it's
Mhm.
just the field that I'm in. And so for us to do bills 50-50, it just wouldn't work. It
Mm,
was not fair. When I could have taken on so much more and still been extremely comfortable. So how we decided to organize our bills was our personal decision because I just wanted it to be fair, and he was with me when I was the teller and when I was the banker and saw me climb up that corporate ladder. So, there were moments in our relationship where he made more money. So I just think that you have to be on the same page. I think you have to be honest. You have to have trust. If you guys are committing and stick to those boundaries, stick to those goals, and you can get to the next level. Paying off debt is like a big thing that couples fight about. Like they're
right.
way in over their heads.
Right. Like it's you know, it's tough, and you have to communicate. Like you said, you have to be on the same page. And these are things that, I want young couples to talk about. When you're in that vetting process, when you're in that dating or that courting phase, these are things that you need to talk
Mhm.
about. You know what I mean? How, if you're married, ask the question. If you guys been dating for a while, if you're exclusive, ask the questions. How will we spend our money? Let's say,
Mhm.
I'm making this, you're making that, or we come up on this lump sum or whatever. How would you want to spend that? And give that person the opportunity to tell you, and so you can understand, the mentality that they have. Because you have couples that don't have any money, and then you have couples who have money and they don't know how to, spend it, or they don't know what to do with it. So it's not just couples, obviously, if you broke, if your money's funny, if you don't know how you're going to pay bills, that is a huge stressor. Just like you said, that can cause a lot of other problems. But there are couples who make great money. There are couples who both of them make six figures. They're rolling, but they don't agree on how to spend the money. You know what I mean? One partner wants to
Right.
invest long term. The other partner's like, no, I want to buy this. I want to buy this car. I need a car every year. I need this every, so they don't agree on how to spend the money, and it causes friction. And then it's like, there's a certain thing called financial intimacy. And you want to be just as intimate with your partner financially as you are emotionally, spiritually, sexually. You know what I mean? You want to be open, put it all on the table. You know what I mean? Be intimate. A lot of people will honestly, they will give you their body however you want it, when you want it, but don't ask me about my money. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me nothing about my money. You know what I mean? We can go anywhere, we can do anything. Or you want it, I'll spin around, I'll do whatever you want sexually, but don't ask me about my money. That's where I draw the line. And so what are you telling people? You're telling people that your wallet is more valuable to you than your own body. So you want to be financially intimate too, and have these conversations, because if you don't have them early on, they're going to rear their head later on. You get married, you have kids, well, I want to put the kids in private school. Well, I grew up in public school. Well, we haven't put any money away for private school. How are we going to afford it? You know what I mean? So, these are questions that will rear their ugly head. And so it's best to prepare for them as soon as you can. Have conversations about money. Have an idea of who your partner is financially. If they are a spender, you know what I mean? You got to work around that some kind of way. Give them a budget. You know what I mean? Here, you take this, this Cash App, this 200, you got a $500 limit a week. You know what I'm saying? If that's, here's the thing. Marriages are different. And so your financial situation in your marriage is different. So people run their houses different. So I'm not telling you how to run it, well, you should do it like this, or you should pay this amount and they should pay this. I'm not telling anybody to do that. What I am telling you is to have a conversation, be open and be honest about your financial goals, your financial needs, and then you guys work that out, on a mutual level of love and respect. You know what I mean? However you need to, work your money, but have a conversation. And so when you don't, I'm telling you, it will rock a relationship. Y'all love Barack and Michelle. And y'all see them and they look cute. They got all that money, but let them be broke. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't going high no more. You know what I'm saying? Like when they go low, I'm going lower because we broke, and I'm stressed, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you can go high, you can do certain things when the money is right. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure that, like I said, you're having those conversations.
Yeah, but to a lot of couples don't, plan, like do a prenup when you get married. I don't think there's anything wrong with the prenup. I think you're saying in advance, in the event that something goes wrong, this is how I would like to have things dispersed. And I know for me, going into my next situation, I want a prenup because I've built so much in this time frame that I want to protect it, and it's really for my girls. But anything we build in the marriage, I'm a believer that it should be 50-50, but I also want to make sure that my daughters are taken care of. But you are spot on. And I think some men are apprehensive to share with a woman how much about his finances, because there's a lot of women and men, I shouldn't say, it goes both ways. You don't know that person's intention. So, a man, most successful men that I know, they want to get to know a woman. They want to know that woman loves them for them first. And then they would be completely open to courting her, taking care of her, or making sure that, she's financially taken care of. But those conversations have to take place, and you can't be afraid. And you got to be honest with yourself on what's a deal breaker, because for a man to not have his finances together, for me, it's a complete deal breaker.
Right. You're a grown woman, and you've accomplished a few things. A man not having his paper right is a rare. We have to get off this struggle love. Love is not synonymous with struggle. It's not. And so it's okay, fellas, that if you're not financially stable, it's okay for you fellas to pull back and say, you know what, I can't really, I got to focus on my paper. You know what I mean? And I'm just being honest. As a man, you shouldn't even be out here really in the game like that if your paper's not right. You know what I mean? You shouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, you
I
have to
like
make a
that.
certain, I'm not saying you got to make a certain amount of money, but even if you're a brother, like let's say you're a brother out here and, you make 40, 50,000 and, but you're climbing up because everybody, we all climb. We just told you our stories earlier. You know what I mean? Shakira started off as a waitress, you know what I mean? Ran into a sister who put her on and she's where she's at today. You know what I mean? A market director for, Chase Manhattan Bank. You know what I mean? I started off, you know, in the military, not making a lot of money. I'm talking about that. And that's another thing too, because I blew a lot of money when I was in the military because I was young and I had no financial literacy whatsoever. And so people will say, well, Frank, you didn't really make that much money. You were in the military when you first started off. You were an E1. Right. I was E1. I was a private. That's the lowest level that you come in as an enlisted soldier. And I was making probably maybe $1,400, $1,500 a month. Like that was my pay. So people will look at that and say, well, Frank, that's not a lot of money. But then you factor in, okay, yeah, I'm making $1,500 a month, but I don't have to pay for no rent. I don't have to pay for food. I don't even have to pay for clothes. Like in the military, I got a clothing allowance. You know what I'm saying? So all that money, all that little money I was making was discretionary income. You have people who make $100,000 a year and don't have $1,500 a month of discretionary income because it's all tied up into bills and other things. But yeah, that's a great point. So let me see. All right, so we got a few more, and then I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna respect your time. I know you're a very, very, very busy woman.
I gotta
So
pray with my babies and put them to
yeah,
bed.
yeah. So matter of fact, so I'm gonna do one more, and then we can let the people know. You can let the people know how to find you and all that good stuff. Let the people know what you're doing. So so here's our last question. Um, Can anyone save regardless of their income? And if so, how? Because I hear this a lot of times. They'll talk to me, they'll talk to my wife. They'll say, well, you know what? Like my wife helps people with budgeting. You know what I mean? She does it for her job. I mean, she does it as a profession, as an accountant, and then she would help people on the side to kind of budget and save some money. And so one of the things that she would hear all the time was, well, I don't make enough. I can't save. I work, I only make 30,000, I only make 35,000. How can I save money? So I just want you to let the people know that is anyone able to save money based on their income?
Everyone could save money. Everyone should save money. And I'll share a quick story. So I was 16 years old and I was working at the Gap. And I was so excited. The Gap was the store back in the day.
Right.
And so a sister, she was a supervisor, and she sat me down on day one, Black girl, day one of my first day orientation. She sat me down, and she said, "I need you're gonna sign up for stock. You're gonna buy some of Gap stock. So every time you get paid, the company's gonna take a certain percentage out of your check, and they're gonna put it and invest in some Gap stocks for you. And this is gonna make money for you." I didn't know what she was talking about. 16 years old in high
Right.
school working at the Gap. And I said, no, 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 no. I really can't afford that. I'll do it later. She said, let me ask you a question. How much do you make now? And I said, nothing. I don't have a job. She said, okay. So whatever you're earning is going to be more than what you have now. Am I correct?
Right.
I said, yes. She said, so you could afford to invest that money.
Right.
And I really couldn't dispute what she was saying to me. I signed up. When I left that company 3 years later, when I graduated from high school, I cashed out $4,000 in stock, and that's how I bought my first car.
Wow.
Um,
Right.
so the moral of the story is everyone can save money. I don't care how much you make. It's just how much you keep. As I said earlier, it's about how you budget. It's about how you leverage your money. If you work for an employer, please contribute to your 401k. That is free
Right.
money that you are leaving, especially if that employer matches dollar for dollar. I've always invested in my 401k.
Right.
Most companies max out 6%. I've always done at least a minimum 6%. That's actually how I purchased my first home. I was contributing to my 401k. I looked at it one day. I was like, I got $30,000 in there. Wow.
Mhm.
And I took out a little between 10 and 15 grand, used that as a down payment on my first home. And then I saved up. I was able to use that for moving expenses, painters, and just to have a cushion. And you're allowed to withdraw from your 401k. A lot of people don't know that. They don't leverage it. They don't take advantage of it. If your company offers any type of pension plan or stock employee plan, take advantage of it.
Right.
These are investment vehicles that can get you on a path to home ownership, can get you on a path to building wealth. And if you don't come from wealth, you gotta start taking advantage of these opportunities so that I love it. I think that we also need to really, really, I don't want to forget to say this because this is so important to me. We need to invest in real estate.
Right.
I'm on my sixth investment property, and it's generating passive income that comes in, which allows me to live the lifestyle that I enjoy, which allows me to provide for my children, which allows me to have peace of mind and security. When you think about financial stability, it means peace of mind for me, right? But I'm worried. I'm more concerned about what are these properties going to appreciate years from now, which I
Hmm.
can leave to my children or
Right.
liquidate and pay for college or liquidate having them and I need cash. When you see me taking these trips, I'm not paying for that. My tenants are paying for that.
Right.
Just like at one point in my life, maybe I paid for some trips when I used to rent. But if you can get yourself the more land that you can get your hands on, more properties
Mhm.
that you can buy. Who wins Monopoly? Who wins Monopoly, Frank?
If you
Who
got
wins
the
Monopoly?
property, if you got those
Whoever
hotels,
has the most properties,
whoever got
right?
the most properties, right? Right. Yep. That's it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So,
Hmm.
and for your average person, I'm telling you, home ownership is the fastest way to create wealth.
It is. It is. So, um, I just want to thank you for coming on. Um, I had a great time. I know the people in the chat had a great time. Um, I'm very appreciative of you and what you do, professionally and on in your personal life with helping people, helping women become more financially literate, more financially empowered. So I just want to congratulate you on that. Keep going. I got to have you back on the show. You know what I mean? To kind of just chop it up some more from another angle. But I'm very appreciative of you for taking the time out to come on the show. I'm gonna email you too about the rental properties and stuff like that too. That's something I've been meaning to look into. I want to do that. Um,
Let's
but
do it.
thank
I
you.
got a
Right.
couple in your hometown, North Carolina.
Oh, all right.
Uh,
Okay. Look. Those don't get me. All right. I'm gonna do that. Okay. Yeah. I know it's late tonight. I'm gonna probably hit you tomorrow, just to kind of talk about some things, some ideas, and how to get involved with that because I think that's big. So just let the people know what you're doing, where they can find you if they have any questions, if they have any issues or concerns with investing and financial literacy and things like that.
yeah, as I mentioned, I'm home based in New Jersey. Manhattan is my region. I have over 200 employees that are ready to help you, ready to assist you. We also do phone appointments or Zoom appointments if you're not in a tri-state New York area, or I can connect you with someone in the firm that area, prefer to meet someone in person. You can find me on LinkedIn, Shakira Green, Sherkera, last name Green. I'm on Instagram. I am Shakira Green. Twitter, I am Shakira Green. And I also have a website that you can find on my link on my Instagram. So this was awesome, Frank. Thank you. Thank you to
Thank you.
you. Thank you to your beautiful wife and your family for just allowing you to do what you do. I love how you're giving back to the community. We need more men like you stepping up. and teaching brothers. Thank you for letting me come into the man cave and talk. And I'm really grateful and I'm appreciative for the opportunity. So thank you.
Right. Thank you. All right. So on that note, guys, thank you for tuning in to the show. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm very appreciative for you for listening. You guys make View from the Man Cave everything that it is. I cannot do it without you. So I'm very humbled and appreciative of you, all of the subscribers, all of the supporters of the channel. If you want to reach out to me for just to talk, if you have any questions, comments, you want a consultation about a few things, you can email me at frankjrivers@gmail.com. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do that as well. I am monetized on YouTube, so you could support financially through the super chat, or you could do it through Cash App or PayPal. Cash App is $ View from the Man Cave on Cash App, and for PayPal, you can do it paypal.me/View from the Man Cave. So on that note, we're gonna go. I want Shakira to be able to tuck them babies in. It's late. They probably usually be in the bed by this time. Anyway,
they better be in bed already.
I know my kids do, man. If I don't take care of them, they be in their room on their tablets, on their iPads, playing around and stuff like that. It's a school night though.
Exactly.
So let me go check on them. You guys be careful out there. We're still in the pandemic. Wear your mask. Stay 6 feet away from me and Shakira. We don't want none of that. And on that note, y'all be safe. We love y'all. And
yes.
Y'all have a good evening.
Bye. God bless. Peace. Good night.
The powers of alchemy. alchemy.
Like that are usually set up to be wrong.